Hello and welcome to our Fuel for Fitness cooking class this evening using the Thermomix. And we've got some really great special guests here this evening. You may notice, for those of you who are often on our classes, you may notice I'm not standing in my kitchen. I'm not going to be cooking tonight. I'm going to leave that to the experts. I'm just sitting here casually at the table with my Thermomix so I can show you some features a little bit later on in the evening. But just some housekeeping rules. If you could all please stay on mute as the presenters are presenting, which just makes it easier for everyone else to be able to watch. If you have questions, please put them in the chat, and we've got people here who can answer your questions, and we'll do our best. At the very end, there'll be time for you to come off mute and we can have a chat about anything else you're wanting to ask us. There'll be a chance for that. And tomorrow, as I mentioned, I'll also be sending out the recording for whoever misses anything. So you'll be able to catch up that way as well. So all that being said, I want to really rip in because we've got some great things we want to share with you this evening. And first off, I wanted to go over to the lovely Yolanda Baker from our Fuel. She's from the Fuel Cookbook, and she's going to explain a little bit about that and give some really great tips for those who want to fuel their bodies for fitness. So I am going to change the spotlight now and hand you over.
Hi everyone, thanks for that, Laura. That was a lovely introduction. Thanks so much. Look, a little bit about me. I've been working in the food industry for about 35 years, and I've been a consultant with Thermomix for about 6 years. I just love what the Thermomix does for making fresh food fast. I've also been passionate about fitness and wellness, and it's something that I'm happy to talk about any time because it's made a big difference in my life. I made a conscious decision as I was aging that I wanted to age well. And I decided that muscle mass, bone density, cardiovascular fitness, all of those things were going to be vital to me, particularly as I transitioned towards and through menopause. That, you know, being able to be the fittest, best version of myself was going to set me up really well for my retirement when I was going to enjoy myself. So part of that process was joining a CrossFit gym, and in the middle of all of that time spent there learning to weightlift and everything else, Fuel Cookbook was born. I know tonight's class is not all about the book, but I'll just tell you briefly. It's a book about recipes you can make quickly with or without a Thermomix. We give both methods. We've got macros included, lots of tips and tricks. It was written with myself and Libby Westcombe, who is a personal trainer, women's fitness specialist. She's written the nutrition stuff and the training stuff. But it's a passion project. They're recipes you'll cook again and again and again. You don't need to be an athlete to enjoy these recipes. They are healthy, clean eating, fast to make, taste good recipes. But we've tried to give some information for each one as well as to why you would make it or what's good about it. So tonight, Laura, do you have any specific concern over which recipe I do first? I was going to do the chopped banana shake.
Yeah, go for it. That'd be great.
Okay. This is a super fast and super easy recipe, but the great thing about it is the combination of things that are in it. If you're someone that's regularly training and exercising, you know you're going to need to replace your potassium and your magnesium stores. You're going to need to replace some energy back to your body after you've trained, so you need some protein, you need some carbohydrates. So this is a simple smoothie made with dates, which will give you the sweetness. It also gives you some potassium and magnesium alongside bananas, some oats for some good quick carbs, because after you've been training hard, the best way to refuel your muscles is with a bit of good, easily digestible carbs. And we've got some chia in there as well, the milk of your choice, banana, I think I might have said already, and a little bit of honey as well as the rolled oats. So we're just going to get ourselves ready. I'll move my screen down so you can see what's going on. It's a really quick recipe. Not rocket science in this one, but the combination of ingredients are good. So we're actually going to share with you what's in this recipe, and you can receive that in your email tomorrow. You'll get 3 recipes from Fuel Cookbook that you can try and cook when you're ready. So the first thing is just a teaspoon of cacao powder. Just lift my screen, move that back a bit so you can see. I'm using cacao. The difference between cacao and cocoa is that cacao is less processed. It hasn't been roasted. I've also got here some rolled oats, about a tablespoon, and I've got some chia seeds as well, about a teaspoon. And then we're adding 45 grams of the dried dates. I'm also going to pop in about a teaspoon of honey. roughly, not too accurate. Let's pop that in. Honey's a great one also for some natural sweetness and some good health benefits in there. And the next thing, we're going to pop in some banana. Oh, we've said about 85 grams roughly. It could be frozen if you like. You could also add in ice cubes if you wanted to. So I'll just pull up my scales. This is one of the things I love about the TM6, that our scales weigh down to 5 grams of, to 1 gram of accuracy. I don't know if you can see my screen. The light's actually not that brilliant tonight, but anyway, I'll just hit tear there. And I'm just going to chop in using a nice sharp knife. This one's actually out of the kitchen toolkit, which is a special offer at the moment. That'll do. I'll add a little bit more. And then a cup of milk of your choice, roughly a cup or 250 grams. I'm just going to use regular full cream milk. And I'll blast my lid. That in. Tonight I'm going to use the blend function. With the TM6 we have these functions and modes, and you can actually order them to the places that you like for the ones you use most. So there's the blend. I'm going to blend a little bit longer than 30 seconds, so I'll just dial up, maybe about 45. And then we just start the blend mode. It's that simple. Okay, so this is the part where I tell you I'm winging it, and I've never used blend before to make this smoothie, and it may or may not be as smooth as I want. It's pretty good. Normally I would use speed 7 or a little bit higher, just to really smash that down. So it's got a little bit of texture in there. So I'm just going to blend it just another 20 seconds on a higher speed. Blend mode's nice and easy if you just want to quickly smash something, but we do have dates in there, and we also have some chia and other things, so good to give that a bit more of a blend. So this one's super chocolatey, delicious. The cacao powder is really good for us because it's full of antioxidants, and antioxidants are those wonderful things that help prevent disease and look after us in so many ways for our body. They're a good thing to have in your diet. And there is our delicious nutrition boosting post-workout shake that will refuel our muscles and fill us up after we've done a hard workout. And that was my first recipe, Laura. Super easy, super tasty.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Yolanda. That just looks delicious. I'm sure we'll be making that soon. And for those who've joined us late, the recipes are going to come to you in an email tomorrow, along with the recording from tonight, so you can catch up. We're going to go over now to Lara Perrett, fabulous, fabulous woman doing great things for us all in the hills from Max Fit Hills. She can introduce herself properly, but she knows what she's talking about. So she's got some great recipes to share with us tonight.
Okay, hi everyone. Sorry, I've got a bit of a light streaming through. We have been running Max Fit for quite some time. I'm a strength and conditioning coach, Pilates instructor, and a nutrition coach. I have previously been a social worker, and I work a lot around mental health and the behavioural side of nutrition. Obviously working with people that are recovering from eating disorders, struggling with binge eating disorder, and also just general education and support around eating well. So a lot of the time we're trying to fuel athletes as well. So the recipes that I'm going to be sharing with you tonight are my family's favorites when it comes to eating, as we were talking before about eating sufficient amounts of macros. So Yolanda was talking about macros. They're macronutrients. In our diet, we need to incorporate a significant amount of macro and micronutrients. 3 main macros are your protein, your carbohydrates, your fats, and alcohol, which we don't worry about going into too much tonight. And then your micronutrients, so they're all your minerals and your vitamins. So the recipes that I'm going to be making tonight, the first one is going to be a smoothie bowl. And the reason that we like this one so much in our family is because it kind of tastes like ice cream. So the kids really enjoy this. It's packed with protein. When I give the recipes to Laura, I'll also include the macros for this, but it has 2 scoops of protein in it. And it will serve 3 to 4 people. So essentially each, which probably doesn't mean a lot to everybody, but each person is probably getting around 15 to 20 grams of protein for ice cream, essentially. So yeah, so this one's one of our favorites. I'm not a Thermomix consultant, so I'm not going to be anywhere near as smooth as what Yolanda was, because that was just amazing. So I'm going to be like fumbling around, but I'll try and get there as best I can. I don't even have that many containers prepared, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing. But it's definitely not going to be that smooth. Okay, so
it's great, Lara. We just want to see you cooking in your kitchen. So all good.
Exactly it. We just want to keep it real around here, Lara.
Yeah, keep it real.
Okay, perfect, because I'm not very good at this sort of thing. And I'm not a cook, but I love cooking, and I use my Thermomix all the time. So I've had it for quite some time. And as Laura knows, like I love it so much. And I refer like so many of my clients to purchasing Thermomix and friends and all that sort of stuff, because I just think it makes my time in the kitchen so much easier. And this particular smoothie bowl is perfect, like Yolanda was saying before, for recovery. So because it's got so much, it's got carbohydrates in the fruit, it's also got protein as we're adding that. And as you'll see, it's got some healthy fats in it, because I'm going to add some coconut yogurt to it at the end. All right, so first of all, I'm just going to grab my berries because they're frozen. Really important that they're straight out of the freezer for this one, and you need to ground them into like a powder. So I'm just going to pop my scales on. I've got a TM5, even though I would love a 6. I'm just going to pop in 350 grams of frozen fruit. So I just get bananas and I chop them up, and when they're going like a tiny bit brown, because my kids are really fussy and they decided they don't want to eat bananas that are tiny bit brown. So I've got about 195, so I've got mango, banana and blueberry tonight. So we're into about, there we go, 3 grams of frozen fruit. Now, do you want me to mute this because it's really loud? I'll just quickly mute this while I blend it. So what I'm going to do, sorry. Yeah, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend it on 10 for 10 seconds. So I'll just quickly mute this.
Totally fine. When you're doing powerful things in the Thermomix, you can definitely hear it. And so speed 10 is actually 10,300 revs per minute. So definitely powerful enough to be blitzing all this.
Yeah, unbelievable. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like. I'll just scrape down the sides and I'll just show you what it looks like. So it's like full on like that powdery fruit look. So then I'm going to grab some protein powder. So this is a plug for Masashi, but this is one of my favorite proteins. We use Masashi 100% whey protein. The reason that we do prefer to use a whey protein if you can tolerate lactose over a plant-based protein, because of the leucine that is in protein in an animal-based or a whey-based protein that isn't in a plant-based protein. That's important because it actually helps with your muscle protein synthesis, which helps you to build muscle. And as Yolanda was saying before, I just love everything that you said about moving into your retirement through menopause, making sure that your bone density is strong, making sure that your muscle mass, because we lose muscle every time, like year over 30, we start to lose our muscle mass. Now, to some people, that's like, so what, I don't care if I have muscles or not, but it actually comes down to functional problems. And I can go into that a little bit more later, but things like back pain, we tend to see this kind of look in people, all of those sort of things that can happen through that, as well as pelvic floor issues. So anyway, I'll continue with this. This is why we use this. Plant-based protein is okay, it's just not going to be as good. So I just pop in 2 scoops. So these are 25 grams of protein each. And then I like to use, you can use water if you want to. I like to use coconut water because of the electrolytes and the nutrient density of coconut water in comparison to, say, like an almond milk. Almond milk is fine to use as well, or just a general milk. Oh gosh, this is a new one. Hang on a second, sorry. This is like awkward. Hang on, tea. Like I said, polished performance here. So what we're going to do is put in probably, I'm just going to put in about 100 to 120 grams of coconut water. Let me see where I'm up to. Yeah. Okay, and then one other thing I like to do sometimes, I'll just grab it for you. I use these little, they're called, I don't know if you can see that. It's a Unicorn Superfoods blend, and they're like this is an antioxidant blend, and it just adds like a little bit to, just to our smoothies. And the kids don't really, well, there's one walking past, but the kids don't really even know that it's in there, and it's just adding like a whole heap, because this is an acai berry one. You can get a whole different range from them, and they make the smoothies. This one's going to go really purple. They make the smoothies really nice. So what I do here is I'm just going to blend it kind of, I'd like to be able to tell you exactly what I do, but I blend it probably around about a 4 or 5. And I'm just sort of pushing into it as I need to. It's starting to get thicker. So here I've got about, I don't know, 15 seconds on 5. I'm just going to stop it, scrape it down, just because the protein kind of flicks up a little bit. Just scraping it down. Don't be afraid to use protein powder, by the way. I was always afraid before, years ago. You said that it would mean I'd get really bulky.
I was the same, but protein powder is actually your best friend. It stops you being hungry, and it's so easy.
It's so easy.
It's so easy.
I mean, I use a lot of protein, like I eat about 150 grams of protein a day, and clearly I'm not very big, so it's not a muscle bulking situation just from eating that. I'm just going to grab a bowl. So I like to use these little coconut bowls. I just think they're fun. It makes me feel like I'm going to like holiday or something. So like I said, it does serve quite a few. I'm just going to tip it in so you can see. I don't know, can you guys see that okay? It's quite ice cream. Now, thicker, you just add, if you want it thicker, you just add a bit less in terms of that coconut water. If you want it to be thinner, or even a smoothie, just go nuts on that coconut water. Now, what I do with this, because I like to kind of make it look a little bit pretty, we go with a bit of coconut yogurt. So I just pop that on top, some coconut yogurt. And then some, so I should have had all this out, but I just like them to be fresh. Popping on, now what I do, I really love to make my own muesli, but if I don't get round to it because, busyness and life, I get some muesli from the Source, and I just pop them in little glass jars, the Source bulk foods at Rouse Hill, because everything's so natural and healthy from there. So I just grab, I think this one's the apple cinnamon one. So I just pop that on top, and then a couple of blueberries. And my absolute favorite part of this is the peanut butter. So this is a Simple Nuts Vega all natural peanut butter, and I use this pretty much on everything, and it's just like a really nice drizzle on top. And my kids are going to be really happy. So I don't know if you can see, but that's how the smoothie bowl turns out. And that will keep you full, I reckon, maybe for about 4 hours, depending on how hungry you get. So yes, that's my first recipe.
Oh, looks so good. Thank you, Lara. Delicious.
problem.
And you did a great job just keeping it real in your kitchen there. Honestly. It's awesome. So we've had our smoothie, smoothie first and then a smoothie bowl. We're going to go back to Yolanda for her next dish. And then we'll come back to Lara for another dish soon. We'll give her a chance to clean her bowl and whatever else and eat some of that delicious goodness there. Are you ready, Yolanda? I'm coming over to you anyway.
So I've got 3 dishes today. I've done like a smoothie and we're going to do like a healthy slicey nut bar thing that we're going to have in a minute. And I've also done like a beef and vegetable meatball with a tomato sauce. So I'm not all about the sweetie stuff, but you're getting 2 of the sweeter things first. This one that we're making now is part of our healthy snacks and treats section and is a treat. It is a delicious treat. It's made of healthy things, but they are also high fat. So we've got cashews and we've got shredded coconut. There's almonds. We've roasted the almonds and the cashews first so that they're extra flavoursome, and I've let them cool down. We're going to add some goji berries because they are super high in antioxidants. They're also high in fibre. They've got some plant-based compounds that are thought to be medicinal for disease prevention, but also for eye health, cardiovascular health, and various other things. And once again, some cacao, a bit of honey, and I think some protein powder as well. Like Lara, I use whey powder. I've been using it now for a number of years and I find it's really convenient. The plant-based ones, I know they're out there, but I know that this one works for me and it's quite cost effective. So I'm just buying a dynamic whey one that I buy from Chemist Warehouse, actually, just to vanilla. So we'll use that, but quickly put our recipe together and show you. With these healthy snacks and treats, they taste delicious, they're good for you, there's nutrition in there, but they are a treat. So be aware of the macros, be aware of the calorie load, because it's all very well to say I'm eating a healthy treat, but if it's really heavy on calories and you're having more than the recommended serve size, you will find you're probably not going to hit your nutrition goals, particularly if you're trying to lose weight. All right, so here we go. First things first, we're going to pop in our roasted cashews and almonds into our Thermomix. I will just once again put my screen down so you can hopefully see what I am doing. Move that back a bit. Don't have a home studio, so we're just in my kitchen cooking together. All right, so I have 120 grams of cashews, 150 grams of almonds. In they go. Now I'm also going to pop in the goji berries, and there are about 30 grams of goji berries. And then I'm adding also the protein powder. I'll just call up my scales just to check my weight. I want about 50 grams, about 2 good scoops of protein powder. Oh, that's pretty good at 49 grams. The next thing we want is a bit of cacao. So we want 30 grams of cacao. Just gives it a lovely chocolatey flavour. And once again, the nutrition's in the cacao with the antioxidants, which are super good for us. There we go. Okay, and chia seeds, I want about 20 grams of chia seeds. Chia seeds really are one of those wonderful little superfoods. They're one of the plant-based omega-3 sources, and they're also high in fibre and good fats as well as some other nutrition. So all those things are in there now. I'm just going to pop on my lid. And I'm going to chop all this together. It will be a little bit loud, but hopefully the Zoom will mute it. So I want about 15 seconds roughly of chopping. And I want speed 7 actually initially. Okay, that's done. Now we're going to add in some honey and some melted coconut oil after that. I want about 4 tablespoons of honey, which is about 85 grams. Actually, I should show you that. That is just beautifully processed into a little bit coarse, but not too coarse, crumbly, beautiful mixture that smells wonderful. So 85 grams of honey. And as Laura said, don't bother writing this down because we'll give you the recipes. And hopefully you can enjoy them and make them at home. Oh, a little bit more than I wanted, but never mind. That'll be okay. And now I want about 60 grams of melted coconut oil. So I've just made that a bit liquid. Coconut oil is one of those great fats. It's got some health benefits as well. It's one that's easily digestible. It does tend to help things set nicely, which is great when you're making a slice like this. It's got some of the fatty acids in it that aren't available in other plant-based fats. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to mix that 20-second speed 5. Just dial up my 20. There we are. Let's see what we've got. Oh, perfect. That's exactly what I hoped for. Don't know if you can see that. It's beautifully mixed. It's got some texture still. So that'll be nice. And I'm just now, I've prepared a lamington tin or a sliced tin, brownie tin, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to pop it in there. And we'll just press it down and then into the fridge for about an hour till it sets. And then we'll be right to slice it. This one does taste just chocolatey, coconutty. Actually, I just realised what I've done there. I actually have omitted the coconut, which is quite foolish of me and tells you that absolutely anybody can be a Thermomix consultant when you're rushing along and you forget the coconut. So let's go back and put the coconut in because it actually needs that to taste extra good. Excuse me for making a mistake. What I was after was, and I'm reading from the book, I was after 220 grams of coconut, which I completely forgot to put in, which is very stupid of me. That's okay. All things are resurrectable. I'm actually just going to pop this straight back in. And once again, about 20 seconds roughly will do for me. Maybe even less, 15 seconds will probably do. That was a good guess. That looks pretty good. I was able to have a look through the hole of the mixing bowl lid. Awesome. So now it looks more like I expected, coconutty and ready to go. So we'll take 2. We'll put it into the tin, press it down firmly and let it set. This one, with all the energy from the coconut and the honey, but also the protein powder, it will keep you full. The nuts as well, the fats in the nuts and the fibre will keep you full for a while. It's one of those healthy treats where you won't be going back for, you know, piece after piece because you will actually feel like you've filled up. And that's one of the reasons I love this. It's a healthy thing that stops you reaching for the biscuit tin. So just push it down nicely, make it fairly firm. We want it to set into like a bar that we can then slice. It's another one of those really quick recipes that tastes great, is nice for sharing. I do actually make this for gifts for friends. I have quite a few friends that are on a health and wellness journey, and sometimes they find that they like a bit of a healthy treat. So this is something I tend to make for them as well. Just push it down nicely, just like that. And then it's ready for the fridge. So apologies for me bumbling around and forgetting the shredded coconut, but hey, all things are resurrectable.
Totally fine. And that's just what happens when you're just on Zoom with an audience.
No, that doesn't look right. That really doesn't look right.
No, all good. Resurrectable, as you said. And this is why I love my guided cooking.
Well, that's
can't
something
miss
that we
anything.
could mention, Laura, that soon
Yes.
we'll be able to input our recipes into Cookie Do 3.0.
Absolutely.
And then I wouldn't have made a mistake like that, because my recipe from my cookbook, I could import into my Cookie Do, and then I would have guided cooking and I'd be following the on-screen instructions instead of getting stage fright in front of all of you and forgetting the coconut. So,
Totally.
anyway,
That's coming soon. So
soon. Watch this
coming
space.
soon. We'll be talking about Cookie Do. So awesome. So now we're going, thank you, Yolanda. We're going back to Lara for her next recipe that she was going to show us. So this is, for those who were late, Lara from Max Fit Hills is not a Thermomix consultant, but a Thermomix enthusiast and great nutrition guide for us all tonight. So.
Okay, guys, so if you missed it before, I just need to apologize. I'm not as polished as Yolanda, so I'm going to fumble my way through this guided cooking. However, this guided cooking is slightly different to what I do because I never follow a recipe. So why would I start now? So we go into recipes, and because it's something we cook all the time, I'm going to go into recently cooked, and I'm going to hit pikelets, but these are actually protein pancakes. But the pikelet recipe is so perfect here because it guides you through what to do. And this is a way, like, we have done some trial and error and we've come up with this, and we don't use the butter side section of this, and we also don't use sugar in it because you don't actually need either for these pancakes to work well. So you just go straight through from the 20 grams of butter, you just skip that part, and you come to the 140 grams of self-raising flour. Now, because my family, we have 4 kids, and often they have friends over, now they do after lockdown, we make huge batches of this. So I double this, I'm always going to double it. And the good thing about this is that they freeze really well and you can send them off to school. So I'm just going to start with, I use whole flour for this, so you can use any flour. Sometimes if I have it in stock, I'll mill my flour first, and any flour works really well with this, but I'm just going to use a whole wheat flour. Okay, so I'm just tearing this. You probably can't see the screen, even if I had it closer, because it's so bright compared to the rest of the house. All right, so I'm going with here 280 because I'm making a double batch, and then my kids can take it to school tomorrow. Okay, so then following through on the recipe, next we have some salt. I always like to use the Himalayan salt, but it's really up to you. It's just more absorbable. That's absorbable. Sounds fantastic. All right, and then next we're going, this here says 30 grams of sugar. So instead of 30 grams of sugar, this is where I add that whey protein powder. Like I said before, we use Masashi. It doesn't matter what you use. We just like this one because it is recommended for athletic development, and it tastes amazing actually. So I'm going to put in 2 scoops of protein powder. I'm using vanilla, but the kids actually really like the chocolate one as well. Okay, so next, as we go through, is some bicarb soda. Now, I do a little bit of a trick with this, and my dad taught me this because he loves cooking. He's actually the one that got me the Thermomix in the first place after I took him to a demo. I just put in like a good pinch of bicarb, and then later on what I do is I add like a little splash of vinegar to the milk, and it just reacts really well and helps the pancakes to rise. And then with this recipe, it actually says buttermilk, but I like to use almond milk. So with the almond milk, I just use an unsweetened almond milk, but you can use whatever. And I think, like, I know of a few people that are incredibly amazing that make their own almond milk, but I am not one of those people. So I will tear this, and like, obviously with the protein powder, you can add, what I was going to say is, depending on how you like your pancakes, like if you like them really thick and cakey, add less of the milk. If you like them just like a little bit more sort of soft and fluffy, then you can add a little bit more milk. So I usually put in about 350 of this because I'm doubling the recipe. I'll put this all up for you guys. Sorry, it's coming. And this is where I do my little splash of vinegar to help it rise. So really hardly any at all, but it is enough to cause that reaction. And then 2 eggs. So with eggs, I'm quite fussy. I only like to use free range eggs. Even better if your friend gives them to you from a farm. But it's just, one, it's more humane for the chickens, but you actually get a better quality product if you use a free range egg. So just 2 of those because I'm doubling the recipe. Okay. So now just popping on the lid. So it's pretty simple. So instead, you just admit the butter and then you just add pretty much the protein. And that's the only difference to this recipe. Okay, so next, and we're just going to mix it for 20 seconds, but halfway through, and on speed 5. About halfway through, I like to just stop it so that I can just scrape down the sides. And then start that up again. I'm just going to, while that finishes, just heat up here. Okay, so my mixture is like, I don't know if you can see that very well, but and you can see, I don't know, I'll just try and tip this down a bit, but it's quite fluffy and bubbly. So you can see it bubbling a fair bit. Now I'm not sure if you want to, I'm going to cook 1 or 2 of these pancakes. If you wanted to switch back to Yolanda, I'm not sure, or I can cook them and then dress them how we usually, when I say dress them, sounds so professional, chuck some stuff on the top and make it look good and taste good. So do you want to come back to me? Or do you want me to...
I'll come back to you.
Okay,
just give you time so it's not rushed and yeah.
Yes, yeah, I'll start cooking them. Okay.
Great.
I won't be long.
No, all good. Go for it. So we actually have a video I'm going to show now because Yolanda, the next thing Yolanda has made for us takes a bit longer. And so lucky for us that we're on Zoom, we can skip some of that cooking time and make it a bit easier. So I am going to share my screen. And someone tell me if this doesn't work, because last time we had technical difficulties and now I'm a bit paranoid about it, but hopefully this works fine. Okay, pressing play now.
Hi, it's Yolanda here. We're going to cook a recipe today from Fuel Cookbook, which I co-authored with Libby Wescombe. This recipe we're doing today is beef and vegetable meatballs with chia and tomato sauce. We will share this recipe with you. I chose this recipe for today because I think it's a general appeal recipe. It's a good family recipe. It's a good recipe for people that want a good solid meal full of vegetables, fibre, some good beef, which gives you the iron and the protein that we need if we're an athletic person to help rebuild our muscles and to feel energetic. But I love that this recipe also contains chia seeds, flax seeds and fennel. The chia and flax both are a really good vegetarian source of omega-3 fatty acids, and they also add some more fibre. The more fibres we can have in our diet, the better for our gut. So using spices, using vegetables, using seeds and nuts are a great way to really give our gut the food that it needs to keep our microbiome happy. And when our microbiome's happy and our gut's happy, we have more energy and we also have a better mental headspace. So there's a lot to be said for fueling your gut with the right vegetable fibres, but also, you know, protein and a good balanced diet. So let's see just how fast it is to make these meatballs today. We're going to use a Thermomix, but you could use the recipe, you could cook it just as easily without a Thermomix. But anyway, here we go. It's very simple, very easy, and I'll show you how it's done. I'll just move my screen so that you can see my Thermomix. Here, excellent. Okay, so the first thing we want is the scales. So we'll come across to our modes and we'll select scales. And we're going to pop in about 200 grams of carrot, just chopped into rounds and peeled. If your carrots are really clean, you don't have to peel them. And then I want about the same amount again of zucchini. Put that in. And then on goes the lid, the measuring cup. Like that. And we're just going to give this a really quick chop, 3 seconds speed 5. Just up to 5. And we'll see how that looks. Give it a bit of a scrape down. We want our vegetables to be fairly finely divided so that it mixes nicely with our mince. That's still just a little bit coarsely chopped. So I'll scrape down the sides and just give it another quick chop, just a couple of seconds. It's way faster than doing this all by hand when you do it in a Thermomix. So speed 5 again, about another 2 seconds. Okay. So that's pretty good. That's more finely chopped. I don't know how well you can see that, but hopefully you can. I'm just going to pop it into a mixing bowl because we are going to chop some other things and then add it all together here in the bowl. Carrots and zucchini together is great because lots of vitamins, lots of good vegetable fibre, minerals, and they're fairly bland. The carrots add just a small amount of vegetable sweetness, but that works well in this recipe. And they're 2 flavours from vegetables that most people like and would normally have in their house. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to pop into our bowl, use the scales again. We're going to pop in about 150 grams of onion approximately. And then my recipe does ask me for some fresh basil. At the moment, I don't have a lot, so I'm going to save the basil for the sauce we'll make later. But I do have a lot of fresh parsley, so I'll add that instead of the basil. And oregano you could use too if you wanted to. And we're also going to pop in 2 garlic cloves, just peeled, ready to go like that. Oh, dropped it. Lid on. Give that a quick chop, speed 5 again, for just a couple of seconds. I did chop that just a little longer than I intended, but still, that's very okay to go into our meatballs. So pop that in to the bowl with your carrots and your zucchini. So far, we've got 400 grams of carrot and zucchini, another 150 grams of onion. And we're going to add 400 or 500 grams of beef to that as well. So we've really got about a 50-50 mix of vegetables to beef. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to pop into our mixing bowl a few other ingredients. Oh, those onions are getting to my eyes. Wow. Okay, so now 2 teaspoons of paprika powder. Pop that in. I'm just using a regular sweet paprika. Should have refilled my canister before the class, but we have enough, so that's great. Then I'm going to add in about 30 grams of chia seeds. 30 grams is somewhere around 3 tablespoons. It's nice and easy to weigh it in to the TM6. About 30 grams. And then we'll add in some flax seeds, about 20 grams. Normally I would use whole flax seeds, but at the moment I've just got some flaxseed meal. I don't actually have any whole flax seeds right now. So we want to add about 2 tablespoons, about 20 grams. So chia and flax are really high in a vegetable source of omega-3 fatty acids, which is really good for everybody. We should be eating those every day. I pop some flaxseed in my smoothie in the mornings too. I quite like that. Okay, now we're going to put in 2 teaspoons of fennel seed. I do love the flavour of fennel seed. And once again, it is a seed. It does have fibre in it. It's another good thing to pop into our food for flavour, but also for our gut. And the next thing we're going to do is about 50 grams of tomato paste. So just hitting tear again. That's a good guess, nearly there. Funny how when you weigh something often enough, you get pretty accurate with it. It doesn't matter if we're a bit over, a bit under. That's okay. And we're also going to add some vegetable stock paste because it gives really wonderful flavour. Vegetable stock paste is one of these ingredients that when you have a Thermomix, you make it yourself. It's made from vegetables, carrots and celery and onions and herbs, some salt, garlic and onions and so on, and it just gives really wonderful flavour. So we'll add about 1 tablespoon, which is roughly equivalent to 1 store-bought stock cube. But this is much more flavoursome and better for you. It does keep very well in the fridge. So there's my vegetable stock paste. And the next thing we're going to add in there is a little bit of salt and pepper, just as much as you like yourself, just a few grams of pepper. I'm not going to add a lot of salt. I don't think we need a lot of salt added, but it is handy to put a little in. It does taste good and it is also good for us. We need the mineral. Next thing, 2 eggs just cracked in there like that. And then we'll pop on our lid and we'll just give that a quick mix. Maybe just that'll be good, just a few seconds, very easy. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that spice and egg mixture to my bowl here with all the vegetables. That's going to give our meatballs a really nice flavour. Homemade food always tastes better than anything you buy too, I think. And if it's homemade food made fast, even better if you're a busy person. I know that if you're a gym goer and you're training for an event or just training regularly because it makes you feel good, you're probably juggling a job, maybe you're managing a family as well, wind up with not so much time to spare on, you know, a lot of time in the kitchen. So meals that are made really quickly, that are super nutritious, is exactly what we need. I'll just scrape off the lid as well because quite a bit of it's wound up on the lid and we don't want to waste that. That's all good flavour and nutrition. Okay, so there's my bowl. I'm going to add to that now 400 or 500 grams of beef mince, whatever you've got. The recipe says 400, but you know what? An extra 100 grams really doesn't matter. That's no problem at all. And we're going to mix that through. Once I've mixed that through, I'm going to just give it a bit of a poke with a spatula first. And once I've mixed that through, I'm going to roll it into balls and then I'm going to pop it onto a lined tray, onto a baking rack. and I'll actually bake them in my oven for about 20 to 25 minutes at 180 degrees. I give them just a really light spray with olive oil. They'll brown up nicely, and then while that's happening, I will then make the sauce in my Thermomix. So the sauce will be cooking while the meatballs are baking, and it'll all be ready at the same time. If you wanted to, you could actually steam your meatballs in the varoma whilst your sauce is cooking underneath, and that way the flavours that drip through from the meat as they're cooking would go into your sauce. I do find the texture of the meatballs is a little bit soft that way, and they don't hold their shape quite as well, but it does make a really rich sauce, and it is a really easy way to do layered cooking in your Thermomix. So it will take me just a little bit of time to roll these meatballs, so I'm going to pause the recording and I'll come back to you when they're done and we'll get on to the sauce. Okay, so I prepared my meatballs and they're ready to go into the oven. I've got them on a tray and I've just given them a very light oil spray with olive oil spray. They'll go in the oven in a moment for 25 minutes. And while that's happening, we'll make our sauce. So the first thing we need to do with our sauce is we will use the bowl that we were using before. We haven't cleaned it, so it's still got some of our spice and egg mixture in there. No point cleaning it because that's all going to add flavour to our sauce. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put in some onion. So we want, again, sort of roughly 150 grams of onion, just really roughly chopped. I'm going to include a garlic clove. You can do that if you want to or not. And I'm going to add some olive oil as well, probably about just a tablespoon or so, which is roughly about 20 or 30 grams. I'll just weigh that in. Don't need to be accurate. And we'll pop our lid on. Just chop that, speed 5 for just a couple of seconds, maybe around 3 seconds. Will do. That's actually chopped that quite nicely. I just want it roughly chopped in there, not too fine. We'll give it a quick scrape down. And then we're going to saute for a couple of minutes on 100 degrees. That's happening. I will pop our meatballs in the oven and start the baking process. Okay. Making a mess as we go, so I'll just clean that off. So about 3 minutes, just dial that up. Nice and easy, 100 degrees. And about speed 3. While that's happening, we'll just get the meatballs into the oven and then we'll get on with our sauce. So the rest of the ingredients that are going to go into the sauce are a couple of tins of tomatoes, so 2 400-gram tins of tomatoes. We're going to add about another 35 grams of our stock paste, vegetable stock paste again to give some flavour. Then we're going to add some more tomato paste. It's about 35 grams roughly of tomato paste. And that's about it, other than a tiny bit of basil. I've just got a little bit growing fresh in the garden and we'll pop that in. If you wanted to, you could add a splash of red wine if you wanted to add some extra flavour. You could add some chilli if you wanted to as well, or any other herbs you might have in your garden. Completely up to you. I love this sauce because as it cooks down, the flavours develop and it's quite lovely with the meatballs. You could also cook some pasta alongside if you wanted to have that to make it a complete meal, or any other carb sauce that you wanted. With Fuel Cookbook, we've written the recipes so that they're the sorts of meals that you'll cook regularly. They become your weekly staples, things that are nutritious, fast to make, We give the instructions for both Thermomix method, but also conventional cooking for those people who don't yet have a Thermomix. And we also provide the macros. So if you are training for a purpose and you are watching your macros, either for weight loss or for a fitness competition competitive edge, we've got those macros for you for each serving. And that makes it very easy for you to stay on track with your wellness goals. We've also included little symbols for things like gluten-free, dairy-free, high protein, and so on, just to help yet again, when you look at a recipe at a glance, you can tell where that sits for you. When we designed the book, we wrote the chapters in a way that we hoped the fitness people would really enjoy. Things like pre-workout meals, we've got post-workout recovery meals, we've got race and comp day section. We also have a high protein section, the carb dense sides, macro packed complete meals, and we've got our nutritious snacks and treats as just some of what's there. In each section, we also give you some tips and tricks. Libby Westcombe, who is a women's fitness specialist, has written those nutrition and fitness tips and tricks. And we've added all sorts of ingredient knowledge too that I know from my 35 plus year career in the food industry. So it's quite a useful book. It is meant to be recipes that you will cook again and again and again. There's quite a variety in there of things to choose from. And it's a very easy to use book. Okay, so now that our onions have sauteed, we're going to continue on with our sauce. And the next thing we need to do is to add our tomatoes. So in they go. They always make a great base for a sauce. And then we're going to add 30 grams of vegetable stock paste. It's roughly a tablespoon or a stock cube if that's what you're using. I do love the flavour of the stock paste. And the next thing we'll add is our tomato paste. We want about 35 grams of that. Once again, it's not critical. It's really just a matter of how rich and deep you want the flavour to be. Oh, that's a little bit over at 40, but that's okay. Not worried about that. And now I'll just add my bit of fresh basil. If I had more in the garden, I would add that, but that's all I've got at the moment. Add just a little bit of pepper because I do like that. Pop the lid back on. And now we're going to cook, let me see, 25 minutes roughly, Baroma reverse speed 2. We'll just dial that up. Baroma is our highest cooking temperature. And we're going to go into reverse. So we keep some of our chunkiness and we'll go speed 2. So while all this is cooking, I'll say goodbye to you and I'll come back again when it's all cooked and see you soon. So our meatballs have just finished baking and they're a lovely golden brown colour. It makes a good size serve, as you can see, with all the vegetables in there. And our sauce has just finished cooking as well. So I'll carefully take the lid off and I'll show you how that looks. It's a nice bright red colour. Smells amazing with the herbs and the onion and the stock paste in there. And the tomatoes. A bit messy. Anyway, I might computer up and over so you can see that wonderful rich tomato sauce. So now all we have to do is just combine the two, pour it over, and I'm sure doing this while you're watching me, I'll probably make a terrible mess. But it just shows you how anybody can be a Thermomix consultant and prepare delicious food like this. Gently toss it through. The meatballs are a little fragile because there's a lot of vegetable in there. So I'll just let that sit and let the flavours blend through. Always really delicious with a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top. Anyway, that's Fuel Cookbook's beef and vegetable meatballs with chia seeds and some flaxseed. Enjoy. Thanks. Bye.
So another big thanks to Yolanda for presenting that recipe to us over video form so that we could watch it really easily tonight, cutting out that cook time. I have made those meatballs where I've steamed them in the varoma above while the sauce was cooking below, and they were great. They are a softer texture when you steam them, but also good. So try both ways and see which way you like. So Lara's been waiting patiently, I think, to show us her pikelet results. Here you are.
Okay, so like I said before, sometimes you can make them into pie. I've got the kids in here, like they've literally just smelt that there's pancakes going on, so they're in here eating away. They like to put a mixture of like Nutella, or sorry, I'll just move this up a bit. They like Nutella on theirs, or maple syrup. When you do put maple syrup on your pancakes, make sure that you're getting maple syrup that is the real raw maple syrup and not a maple flavored syrup. Very, very different. So the maple syrup is more a natural sugar. So here we go. We've got, just give me a second, darling. I'm going to use these. So how about you go over there and I'll get you some in a minute. So what we're going to do, I like to top my pancakes. I'm a big fan of coconut yogurt. I do like normal yogurt as well. And there is a really good one that you can get from Top Juice. And that yogurt's quite high in protein and it's really tasty. But for these, I really like to use the coconut yogurt again. If you haven't used it before, it's quite high in fat, but the fats from this it's a really good fat, like we were saying before. So just grabbing a bit of coconut yogurt and I just nice big scoop on top of the pancake. I know this sounds weird. Honestly, it tastes amazing. So just sort of, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, sorry, but just kind of spreading it around the pancake. If anyone's ever been to U&I Foods, you'll find that they make big pancakes like this and they top it with the most amazing toppings. For today, I'm just going to use bananas and blueberries. So I'm just going to pop some bananas on top and some fresh blueberries. I did have strawberries, but of course they got devoured by the children. But obviously, the more you want to put on top, the better. I then put on, so this is a date syrup. I just get this from Auburn because it's pretty authentic and it tastes amazing, but you can make your own in the Thermomix. I haven't ventured out that far yet, but I just pop a little bit of this on top. It tastes amazing and it's like that real natural sweetness that you get from the dates. And then of course, peanut butter. You can top these with whatever you like. This is just our favorite topping. We get the neighbors over and stuff sometimes having a brunch. And then the final part of the topping, this is, I'll just bring it closer so that you can see it. This is basically the cater mix minus the apples. So I always have this in my cupboard and I just put it in one of those snap lock glass jars. So it's dates, almonds and coconut. You just pop them in. I think it's like 40 grams of each roughly that I put in, and then I pulse it until it becomes sort of like that granulated look. So I pop that on top, but it's always nice to just have that available to put on top of yogurts or whatever else. And then I just pop that on top. And the finished product, it's a really nice, healthy, see if you can see it. It's a really nice, healthy
amazing
lunch. Yeah, it's so good, honestly. And that'll keep you full probably for a good 3 to 4 hours. Like I was saying before, the protein aspect, if you're trying to, even if you're trying to lose weight or gain muscle, it's really important to be incorporating at least twice your body weight. So if you are, say, let's just say 60 kilos, ideally you would like to be eating around 120 grams of protein a day. If you feel like that is too much, just start by gradually increasing. So proteins, obviously you've got your protein powder, you've got proteins in yogurts and cottage cheese, things like that, but also animal-based products. So eggs, fish, meat, chicken, etc. So yeah, if you have any questions around why protein is so important, because obviously we've both been discussing that tonight, feel free to ask or email Laura and we can get back to you on that, give you a bit more information. Who wants the pancake, guys?
Thank you so much, Lara.
No problem.
And good to see your family all there too.
Yeah.
So just before we close off the meeting, we do have a mixture of people on tonight who some don't have a Thermomix, some do. I'm just going to really quickly go over a few things, but if you have more questions about it, because I'm going to be super brief, please get in touch with your consultant or myself, and I can help you with further info. But basically, I want to show you the Thermomix, just so you can see what we have here, because tonight we've been doing a lot of manual cooking. If you go over here, you can see we have a lot of other modes that you can use. We've got sous vide and slow cook, ferment mode for your yogurts, egg cook, kettle, warm up, like for reheating food, thicken for making sauces. We've got rice cooker, blend, a self clean mode. I love that so much. Turbo, which is what Lara was just talking about with the pulse. We have dough mode and your great scales, which we have shown you. See how brief I'm being? That's the screen a lot of us have been using tonight, where we choose our time, temperature, and speed. But my favorite, which Yolanda and I were talking about a bit earlier, is our guided cooking section. So this is Cookie Do right here on your Thermomix screen. And you can type in the name of a recipe that you're wanting to cook in this search bar, or you can type in an ingredient, or you can type in a keyword. So even if you wanted to add some more protein into your diet, you could just type in the word protein and see what comes up. If I can find the T. Sorry. Upside down is always a bit interesting. So yeah, we've got different protein shakes. There'll be some balls that you can make and slices and whatever that comes up. But this is just an example of being able to type in a keyword and see what recipes come up. Once you're in one of these recipes, for example, protein balls, whatever, you can scroll down and see the recipe in its entirety, or your ingredients, your steps. You've got your nutrition guide here, and you've got hints and tricks. When you're ready, you press start cooking, and it brings you through one step at a time. The scales come up when you're ready for them, and you just add in your ingredients and then press next. Tells you what to do, put the lid on. Tells you what to do, turn to speed 9 for 20 seconds. So you just do what it says, press next, and continue doing what it says until you get to the end. It couldn't be easier, and this is how you never will be able to skip an ingredient. Which I can attest to. Yolanda doesn't usually ever skip anything. She's usually more following the recipe, but this is just what happens when we're presenting on Zoom. Sometimes it happens.
I mean, it gets stage fright. That's what happens.
Yeah, it's exactly right, but it's okay because we fixed it. But yes, guided cooking, it just shows you through all along the way. Press next. If ever you have gone too far and you want to go back, there's a back button as well. So super easy to do that. I'm not really cooking this, obviously, but just wanted to show you that. At the very end, if I get to the very end, you've got a picture and a serving suggestion. So that is guided cooking in a super quick nutshell. And what Yolanda and I were talking about earlier is that Cookie Do 3.0 is coming, where we will be able to put in our own recipes in for guided cooking. That's coming. They haven't given us a proper date, but I think it's in November, maybe early November. But at the moment, there are already thousands of recipes on Cookie Do. So yes. So what else was I going to show you? Super quick. Sorry. I know we like to stick to an hour, but it doesn't always happen. There's a few different accessories that come with your Thermomix. So we have our simmer basket, which sits on the inside of your bowl to steam whatever you want to steam, and you can cook rice with that. We also have our Varoma, which sits on top, and that's for steaming a whole heap, 3.3 litres worth of things, and there's layers if you want to cook 2 different levels. We also have, sorry, bend over and get them. We also have a butterfly whisk for our whipping, and spatula, which we've shown you tonight, and a splash guard for when you're using high heat, which is when we go up to 160 degrees on the TM6. That's to stop it splashing out at you. But wait, there's more. And I love saying that right now this month, because you know those old steak knife ads? This month for Thermomix, they're actually throwing in this, they're not steak knives, but it's a kitchen toolkit, which, can you even see them? We've got 3 Solingen steel knives. They are super sharp, different shapes and sizes for different actions in the kitchen. Your peeler, sorbet scoop, and super sharp kitchen scissors as well. So normally $120, but coming free for anyone who is investing in a Thermomix this month. Really great addition to have. I love taking this to picnics, camping, like it's just, you just grab it and bring with you wherever you need to go. But I also just use it in my own kitchen at home. They are great utensils. With that, sorry, got so much to show you. With that also comes our Meals in the Flash book. Oh, should have said normally with your Thermomix purchase, you get a basic cookbook, which I didn't grab out tonight, sorry. Which has it's a great book to have. But this one's coming free at the moment as well. This is all about saving time in the kitchen. Really great recipes in this book. But aside from the recipes, there's also hints and tips for being organized in the kitchen, which is helpful for all of us. And the other thing to let you know is that there is a special on at the moment for anyone who wants to host. So hosting means having 2 people come along to one of our online classes, or some of us are starting to open up to do in-person demos now that we are allowed. So we have a number of host rewards, which I can put in the email tomorrow, but the special one that's just for October is that Thermomix, well, this brand, Forwerk makes the Thermomix, and they also make vacuum cleaners. This, you can get this at a great discount. It's normally $2.99, but anyone who hosts the demo this month, the cooking experience, might be able to get this for $49 just for hosting and having a friend purchase a Thermomix, or $149 if you host and no one purchases a Thermomix. This is so lightweight and just amazing to have in the kitchen or just the house, cleans the car, small spaces. It's a really great vacuum. Clean up all your messes. And it's good for the kids to be able to grab and clean up around the place as well, because it's just easy for them to grab and take wherever they want. So another offer I have for you all this evening is that if anyone wants to join our team as a Thermomix consultant, you're welcome to come on board and join us. I love the flexibility of it, being able to say that I'm a stay-at-home mom while also making an income, but sharing my love for the Thermomix. I genuinely think everyone should see this machine. It has changed my life and so many of my friends and customers and just the community in general. I love being the one to be able to share that with them, because generally at work and in this job, we're just always smiling. So, cooking food for people and helping them have a better lifestyle, saving time, making healthier dishes, saving money, but having fun in the kitchen as well. So it's a really great side hustle. If anyone is interested in that, I can get you more information just to see if it would work for you. Nothing to lose by getting the info and deciding. So that's an option for you all as well. Yeah, okay, that is our, have I forgotten anything? Fuel for Fitness class tonight. I'm pretty sure that's all the recipes we wanted to share. I think I've shared all the current promos. If I've missed anything, it'll be in the email tomorrow, or you can always ask me as well. But super big thank you to both Lara Perrett from Max Fit Hills and Yolanda Baker from Fuel Cookbook. I'll include links to their businesses in the email tomorrow as well, if anyone wants further info about those. Did I miss anything, Yolanda or Lara?
No, you got it all. You did it so well as usual.
Thank you. I felt like cheating tonight because I'm just sitting here and normally I'm cooking, but it was great to leave it up to you experts on the fields tonight. So thank you all for joining us, and we hope to see you again another time. I'm going to end the recording and stay on in case anyone has any questions about anything Thermomix related. So please feel free to come off chat.